Welcome back to One Up ET. Today's video on the TransAm is actually not going to be about the TransAm. We're going to work on a project that translates to something you could do at home. Whether you are already working on your own car for the track or for street use and you don't have it done yet, but you want to get in some practice, we're going to make a simulator cockpit. All right, so what I have here, and I'll explain a little bit about, is these nice little rails. They're all aluminum and they're extruded. They have these nice grooves in them. And we have a bunch of accessories that go with these. I have one unwrapped here. A nice little corner piece that will fit inside of one of these. Which just allows you to put on separate ones and attach them together. There's that one, it's kind of flush, nice, gives you a nice appearance. Another thing, these are really strong too. I mean, there's not much flex in them. And for what I'm thinking when you see the design a little bit for the prototype, it'll make a lot of sense what we're doing with that. Like we have this separate one that's double thick, sort of reinforcements. And this, I've stood on this, you can't bend it. You could probably bend it this way, but this way you can't bend it. It is strong. It's got all the attachment points to it. We've got a bunch of brackets that also go with this. Here's your 90-degree brackets that fit, and they have a little collar in there and a screw. I got one that's slightly assembled here. And you have an Allen wrench that tightens that up, and you slide that into the rail, and it locks that onto the rail. And that gives you the ability to position that up and down the rail as far as you want. It's got a little location tab that keeps it from spinning. The other bracket we have is these nice plates here where you can do a T-joint. You can turn it to the side and have a separate piece coming off that way. And they're solid metal, and I think it's going to reinforce it a lot. And part of the plan for this is to make it economical, because a lot of your simulator cockpits that you go and purchase are $500-600 or more, and they're on the floor, and you have to, when you're like, well, what am I going to sit in, you got to buy a chair separately with it, or if you get the cheap chair that comes with them, they're very uncomfortable, and you're sitting on the floor. So avoid all that. Most people at home, and I'm going to say everybody, most people at home have a nice office chair. And what I'm thinking is we can attach it to the bottom of the office chair with a bracket that we can extend off of it with this bar, and then build your cockpit deal, adjustable length for your foot, adjustable for your steering wheel, and we'll go from there. So I'll draw you out a little bit of what I'm thinking, which will just be, okay, so I'll illustrate a little bit of what we got here. So we'll take your office chair with your headrest. There's your seat cushion. Here's your arm rest support. You have the center post that comes out and goes to your legs. Out here with your wheels on it. Pretty basic, but you get the idea. Then what we're thinking of doing, this is taking the two clamps, placing them on the bottom of the chair with an upright piece there that clamps it. And then we can use these angle brackets here on the side, and we'll extend that out like so. That's probably too far, but not to scale. Then we'll take and build the square support from the ground. We can put your pedal assembly underneath here, and then this will extend out a little bit for your wheel, which will mount onto that piece there. If you wanted to add later monitors, there's plenty of stuff here. We could either put a VESA mount on there and your monitor if you wanted to put something on there. But the way I have this design, you're just going to slide this up to your desk where you already have a monitor in place, and you just slide that up, and then when you're not using it, you can remove it. And these things are very light, so I think that all of this, if you want to add the shift lever You put it basically a T, it comes up, and you can have a gear lever and maybe a handbrake too if you want a handbrake. If you want to switch it over to flight yokes, you would do the same thing. You still have your pedals, and then you could do flight yokes. You could do that flight simulator with it. And like I said, just a couple of bolts on the bottom of this, and you take that off and stow it away, and the whole thing won't weigh more than a few pounds. Now that we have a plan, enough talking, let's do some building. Okay, we're back again the next day. After much trials and tribulations, we've had some issues with our microphones and retaking this about 5 times. So hopefully this one's the ticket. As you can see from yesterday's work, we've actually got something that's pretty neat. One flaw it has is it has a little wobbly from side to side, but actually during use it's not even that noticeable. I think it works out pretty good. I think if we were to change out these pieces for these plates, we can take a lot of that flex out of there, which these just have 1 screw each holding that on, where we can go to 5 screws and then 5 on the other side. So that a lot more work, but I think worth it in the end run to get a little bit more flex out of this thing. I don't think it'll completely stop it, but overall it'll do much better. And as far as anything else, I mean, strength wise, this thing is very stout, very strong. When this is attached to the chair, you can stand on it. I'm 260, that does it. And it attaches nicely. I'll just use this stool for a minute. The line's up there, and you put one of these on the bottom and one of these on the top of your desk chair, and you get a very secure mount. Keeps you from that. You have, when you're pushing on the pedals, you can push as hard as you want, and nothing moves, nothing flexes. Really good. It's really fulfilling a role that we wanted it to do. And we've been thinking if it's something you guys might like, maybe we could build a few and sell them. Work out, let us know in the comments on that one. But I'm gonna take and put the plates on it. We'll go back inside, hook the thing up, and get some more of it in use and a little more seat time with it. We'll see how that goes.
Forza Motorsport loaded up. I'm just going to kind of take you through a little bit of like what it's like to just do laps in the car and see kind of basically how the whole thing holds up. But as far as comfort, it's, I mean, as comfortable as sitting in your general like desk chair. Like it's as comfortable as you want that to be. I did use it for kind of an extended period of time the other night. Probably like 6 plus hours, roughly like 6 hours and 30 minutes, I think, on stream, and it was perfectly fine. It held up fine. There was no noticeable flex that like will ruin your lap times in any way, or give you less of a competitive edge. I think it's super competitive. It feels very comfortable, and that's really all you're looking for when you want to do something like this. You just want to get more comfortable with racing, more comfortable driving. And I think, being able to sit in a decent position like this, and I brought it upstairs to like my setup. It's super portable as well. And I think that's really important. So you can kind of move it around, or obviously you just disconnect it with only 2 bolts from the base of your desk chair. So it's a pretty well thought out rig as far as that goes. And I've had rigs before. I bought like a $300 like fold up kind of rig that you could use. And the problem I have with canvas chairs is like after you sit in a canvas chair for like more than 2 hours, your whole body kind of just tells you no. If it like, you know what I mean? Like it just hurts. It hurts eventually. Whereas when I can sit in my like desk chair for as long as possible. Another thing is too, if you don't like the desk chair you have, you kind of figure that out pretty quickly. we have a couple laying around, and so jumping between them and having the ability to, you know, kind of customize what our foot setup is, or like where our pedals are set, or where the wheel is set on the fly is pretty good. It takes me maybe 15 minutes to get it like reset for a different chair once it's all put together. So I think altogether this is a pretty good sim rig. I'm pretty happy with the results. I think it's going to work really well for what we are doing, and I think it should last for quite some time. I don't see why it wouldn't, as far as durability and stuff. It's a very, very decent rig. I mean, there is a little bit of noise, as you can hear, like when I'm driving and stuff, if I hit rumbles or something like that. And that's partially just because this base is very powerful, but also there's a lot of bolts and stuff connecting this thing together. So I think maybe there's a little bit of rattle. Might be able to tighten some of these things up to kind of get a little less sound behind it. But once you have headphones on or in-game sound running, you're not thinking about it. You definitely don't notice it all that much. But overall, I'd say this is I give it a like 9 out of 10, because the customizing and like the ability to make it exactly how you want it at the end of the day brings it to a 10 out of 10. But because you have to kind of fiddle with some things and change some things around, I give it an 8 out of 10, because it takes, like I said, considerable amount of time before you're like sitting and driving consistently, unless you have a consistent setup. Luckily, me and my dad are like similar in proportions, so size-wise, we don't really need to switch it that much, thankfully. But if you were trying to share this with somebody that was a little bit tall, like quite a bit taller than you, like, you know, 4 or 5 inches height difference or something like that, then I could see there being a little bit more need for customization quickly, rather than customization options in general. So yeah, I think that's gonna end the video today on our little like home experiment sim rig that we designed. I like it. I think it's good. And we'll see you guys in the next one probably. I'm gonna probably put up some footage here of just me driving, so you guys can really see how well it's performing. But you can tell there's hardly any flex in the actual wheel and where the wheel placement is whenever I'm, you know, kind of taking these corners. And yeah, we'll put up some of the lap times that I am able to achieve as well. So then you guys can kind of compare what lap times you have, and that information will be like listed below in the comments, or in the description of the video. But yeah, we'll see you guys soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, see you in the next one. How's that? You think that was good?
Yeah, it's pretty good.